Okay, so in the last review, I said I wanted to review a good movie. Now, granted, I haven't seen this since 2018. I haven't seen this since 2018, but that review might be privated or unlisted. I don't know. So forget about all that. The movie we are going to be re-reviewing is The Hollow. Now, I found this movie at a store called Videotown. It was a video store right by my house. And as you guys probably know from some of my other videos that I've mentioned, I got a lot of movies there when they were closing down. And this was one of the films that I picked up there. It looked cool. It was Halloween time. I watched it. I reviewed it in 2018. I remember liking it, but I haven't watched it since. So I've been needing to rewatch this. I've been wanting to rewatch this film since it did look cool. And I do remember fondly about it. I remember positive things. So what's it about? Well, it's another Headless Horseman movie. Basically, restless spirits stir this Hallows Eve, beckoning Ian, whatever that is, Ian Cranston, played by Kevin Zegers. I don't know who that is. Dawn of the Dead. Huh? Okay. Is the last blood relative of the Ichabod Crane. He's the last relative to, I believe, the Sleepy Hollow legend, and basically on Halloween night, he works at a hayride, and the Headless Horseman returns to try to kill the last of his family's blood. The guys who supposedly defeated the Headless Horseman. He's related to that guy, and the Headless Horseman has come back for revenge to try to kill him and, the last of his bloodline. So right off the bat, this film looks really good. I want to say that. For a low-budget film, and for a film that was, I'm assuming, made for TV, First Look Home Entertainment, or maybe it was just straight to DVD, I don't know. This film looks really good, and it's shot really good, and it's surprisingly acted pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and say this. Rewatching this, I had a good time rewatching it. I really enjoyed rewatching this. Not going to lie. So, what did I like? First and foremost, I liked their characters. I said it before, I said it in the last review for Sleepy Hollow High, that in The Butcher, that if there are unlikable characters, I at least want to enjoy watching them on screen. Like, you're supposed to dislike them, but there's kind of a sense of charm. Like, you love to watch, villains on screen, like Negan or, Jigsaw. Like, you like to watch the scenarios play out, and the acting is so good that you like to watch them. You want to see how the story progresses, and you love to hate them in a way. Now, I'm not saying there's anything like that in this film. There's a bully character that's really douchey and unlikable. He's a douchebag to his girlfriend. He's a douchebag to our main character. You're not supposed to like him, but the actor knew the assignment of playing this character, and he played him super well. He played him with... He gave the bully so much charm and charisma that he can't help but kind of like him in a weird way, if that makes sense. Like, you love to hate him. And he is a fun character to watch. That is the one thing I like, that this film has a big strength that I think a lot of films like this really fail on, and that's interesting characters. There's a lot of interesting characters with this film. You have the crazy man who's always trying to tell the townsfolk about, the Headless Horseman coming back, and no one believes the story. But he's so, fun to watch, and everyone's like, go home, man, you're drunk. And he's like, I'm not drunk. I didn't drink. I'm not drunk. I'm not drunk. And he does it with so much charisma. You just like to watch him. So many of the characters in this film are really likable. And that's something I didn't expect. I guess the only character that you don't really like, but you kind of start to work up to liking him towards the end is the main character's dad. He's kind of douchey towards the beginning, but you understand why he is the way he is. You know, he's disappointed in his son. He wants him to do stuff with his life, and he doesn't really feel like his son's doing that. And eventually, towards the end, they kind of make up and they figure if they resolve their problems. You know how it goes. But yeah, a lot of the characters were likable. The acting was surprisingly good. It's not Oscar worthy or anything, but it's good. It's good for the type of film you're watching. And I will go ahead and say that the kills, you know, obviously I don't really care for, I'm not looking for like graphic kills or anything, but the kills were creative and they were well done. They were well done. Definitely please any horror fan, I'd assume. I already mentioned the film was well shot, and I do think the film is well structured. That's something I don't typically mention, but I want to mention it here. There's a clear first, middle, and end. The film is really damn good, guys. I gotta be honest. The film is really damn good. It gives me that sense of, another thing I want to mention is the film is really dripping with like autumn, fall atmosphere. It's really Halloween-y. And the movie only mentions Halloween so often. That's because, you know, some movies take place on Halloween, but they don't really have anything to do with the holiday. But considering this is the Headless Horseman, it's like, okay, you know, that's one thing. But it also takes place on Halloween. But this film really makes you feel like you're in autumn and fall. There's leaves falling. You get like long shots of trees, and it's really very eerie and atmospheric. And I loved it. I loved it. I also want to say the Headless Horseman himself is actually really, really cool looking. He is really, really cool looking. And that is something that's something I didn't really expect, you know, going in when I was rewatching it. I was like, okay, you know, like, let me get the DVD cover. It's like, he looks like this on the cover, but does he look like this in the film? Yeah, no, he does. And it's a really cool and inventive design. And there's some fun and clever twists that they do towards the end that I was like, wow, I'm really engaged in this film. For complaints or cons or things I didn't really like, I would say the ending is a little rushed, I guess, just a little bit. Well, actually, this kind of part of it. It's like they make a big deal that the Headless Horseman is basically out in the city and he's going to kill people. And then they, you know, basically scare him off for like 5 minutes, and then he goes back to, you know, the spot he was originally. So that kind of plot thread just kind of goes nowhere. It's literally mentioned and then they resolve it like that. But, you know, just kind of little things like that, you know. Some things are kind of mentioned and never brought up again. You know, the typical stuff like that. Like, obviously, if you're going into this film expecting to see some sort of high-class art, like, why? Look at it. You know what you're getting. You know what you're getting. I knew what I was getting into. I like this film, guys. I did. I like the characters. The Headless Horseman was cool. It's well shot, well acted for the most part. You know, there's some lines that are kind of weird. It has that kind of Disney Channel feel vibe, but that's kind of the charm for like it being an early 2000s made for TV or DVD, home video, whatever movie. But it's got a lot of charm. It's got a cool autumn atmosphere to it. I really like this film, guys. I recommend you go watch it. It's really good. I'm gonna give it an A-. Yeah, A-. Check it out. Unfortunately, I don't think the movies we have in store next are that good.